Hi, this is Acme with the US stock highlights here on Share Talk for Tuesday, the 2nd of February. Starting off with Alvr, where we've got a nice bounce, bear trap rebound from below, just below the 50-day moving average, around the $40.70 level, while we're above that on an end-of-day close basis, and while we're above that broken January resistance line, looking towards the top of the rising trend channel from August last year, as high as $70 plus, hopefully by the end of next month. Continuing rather with another stock which is making its debut on this particular selection, American Resources Corporation. Here we've had a gap through resistance, which in this case was last month's $3.08 peak. And while we're above that, on an end-of-day close basis, looking for further upside, hopefully towards the February resistance line projection there, pointing as high as $7, and hopefully that could be seen as soon as the end of next month. But as we know from the US stock highlights, gaps through resistance normally decent signals, even if in the case of American Resources we did have a false alarm there with the gap in October. Moving along to a stock which is even more obscure rather than the previous one. I turn as Antares. Here we've got a situation where the shares have gapped up again through resistance. In this case, last month's peak was at 85 cents, and while we're above that on an end-of-day close basis, looking towards the top of a rising trend channel from back in May last year, promising as high as $1.60. by the end of next month, but the upside valid only while we hold above the 85 cents January resistance. On to another contender beginning with A, and here it is in the form of Tlsa Therapeutics. Nice bounce off, I suppose it was the initial January resistance there at $2.06, and then breaking recent neckline resistance at around the $2.20, well, I suppose the $2.45 level. Above $2.45, looking for a top of a broadening triangle from the end of August as high as $4 by the end of next month, and ideally by even the end of this month. But a bear trap gap reversal, the overall pattern here, so we could be surprised on the upside after the turnaround that we've seen. And in fact, the two gaps there, the gap higher in January and the gap down obviously in December. So pretty exciting and volatile price action there for Tlsa. On to a stock which is relatively new and clearly hasn't appeared here before, Churchill Capital. Rising trend channel, I suppose that's since the end of November. The resistance line projection for the channel currently guess at the $50 level. I guess that it's going towards that, or that's the width of the channel. I've had a gap higher through yesterday's high, which was $25.97, and while we're above that on an end-of-day close basis, looking for that $50 peak, hopefully by the end of next month. At this stage, the stop loss, I suppose the best place would be just below the $25 level already. Don't think it'd be much tighter than that at this stage. Next stock is one which is new to our particular sweep, Lizi. Here we've had another gap through resistance. In this case, it's a gap through the December peak there at $4.36, and while we're above that on an end-of-day close basis, we're looking for a retest of today's peak, which was through the $7 level, which is also the top of a rising trend channel from September. So above the last month's high there at $4.36, and looking for a bigger, or at least a retest of the recent support, and perhaps a bit more on the upside after that. Moving along to a stock which was or has been covered here recently and has a name that is difficult not to remember, NTN Buzz Time. Here we've got a nice consolidation here between the $4 and $6 area. End of day close today, I suppose at $6 plus should easily be enough for a fresh move to the upside and a fresh move towards a resistance line projection from the end of October, currently pointing up to $10 plus for the shares. If you're looking for a stop loss, probably the initial January resistance there at $4.40, the best one, or alternatively that late January peak at $5.20 for those who want to play the stock a bit more closely. Next situation is one of today's biggest rises, and you can see that these kind of situations tend to be rather volatile and difficult to handle. But in this case, we've broken the January resistance, broken above that January peak at around $2.18, and while we're above that, looking for fresh upside, hopefully as high as $6, which is the top of a July trend channel, the resistance line projection there. So above that mid January peak at $2.84, up to as high as $6. So reasonable risk reward and a relatively tight sort of stop loss zone for that particular share. Moving along, and here we've got Prta Corporation. Here again a relatively tight mover, in the sense that even though we've come off a rather vicious bear trap rebound and with a bear trap gap reversal, the view is that while we're above the broken resistance line from last month at $13.50 on an end of day close basis, we could head towards the top of a rising trend channel from July as high as $18 by the end of next month. Just a few stocks to go now. First one is one which is called Sava Sciences. Knockout move here with the I suppose the first target area from a late August resistance line at $50. Let's call it $50.80, easily hit, and the next target really up towards the $90 area, maybe even $95, while we hold above the $50 zone. Obviously rather wide at the moment. Maybe need to wait a couple of days for a consolidation and closer stop loss points, support and resistance points as well. So, but at the moment, above $50 up towards the $95 area for Sava Sciences. Stock which has been pumping out good news today in various forms with broker updates as well is Tlsa Life Sciences. The US manifestation of this company tends to be a better performer than the UK one, and that seems to be the case at the moment. We're up nearly 15%. We've been up a bit higher as well, but at least while we're above yesterday's intraday peak at $4.17 on an end of day close basis, looking towards the top of a rising trend channel from August as high as $8 by the end of next month, and from memory that ties in with the broker's fundamental target on the shares as well. Moving along to finish off the selection today, and we've got Trinity Biotech. Nice breakout here through the old November resistance at $4.94, and while we're above that on an end of day close basis, looking up to $10 by the end of next month, which is at the top of a rising trend channel from way back in August 2019. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.